a video I received from one of my female subscribers and just simply asked the question, do you know who Clark is? I did not know who Clark is. There's a young lady on TikTok that a lot of Black women look up to.
If I have a daughter and she's entering her preteen, teenage years, and she's starting to really be a sponge in this world in terms of who she's kind of modeling after outside of myself and family members, who she considers to be a role model or the it girl that she wants to be like, I hope that that list of people include Clark.
She's very young. I think she's 24 years old. But a lot of Black women, both young and old, consider this woman the model Black woman that they would want to be, or they're aspiring to be, so to speak. And I once I got this video sent to me, I went down the rabbit hole and I watched a couple of her videos. And of course, she has the same, so there was a couple people that was saying she only dates white men. But then the Black women in the comment section, they were saying she only dates men who fit her standards. So basically what they're saying is only white men fit her high standards. So, I want to be very clear on that because I know Black women like to get pushback. We just going where who we find, fit our, standards and preferences and things of that nature. So yes, her dating, history online has been with all white men. So one would assume that she only dates white men, but Black women who necessarily don't like Black men, they like to mask that by saying, well, she only dates who fits her requirements. Okay. So I'm gonna use it, but it's kind of BS. I get it. But yeah, so it is what it is. But this is the young lady Clark explaining social class that pertains to her. So here we go.
What my thoughts were on dating outside of my social class, and I answered that I would quite literally never do that, and here's why. For the purpose of this question, I took social class to sort of mean like socioeconomic class, so my economic status, maybe around how much money I make, a social status, like perhaps the caliber of school that I went to and the spaces that I found myself in as a result, and the people I found myself surrounded by, and then also like the lifestyle I've created for myself that's a combination of like the economic status and the school and the spaces and all of that. I think you guys get how that fits together.
Right there, she was just somewhat qualifying herself as to why she will never date outside of her social class that she actually curated for herself. What she's describing is social mobility. To summarize what social mobility means, it's doing better than your parents. At my age, am I doing better than my parents? You come from meek beginnings, but then once you get older and you start making your own way, you start making a significant amount of money where you start to jump social classes from where you were to where you're at now. So that's her qualifying herself as to why she got to this resolution and why she won't date outside of her newfound social class.
It's important to note that I did not grow up with a lot of money. My father went to prison when I was 4 years old. During that time and all the time after, like my mom has been a public school teacher, so they don't make a lot of money. When we first moved to Atlanta, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 people sharing one bathroom. Like I literally shared the bottom bunk of a bunk bed with my second oldest brother, and then my oldest brother and my sister-in-law were on the top bunk of that bed. Okay, we were not a Jack and Jill family, okay? Money was not... we didn't have a lot of it. So knowing my circumstances, when I was like 12 years old, I made this vision board for myself. My mom actually found recently in her storage unit. I had basically carved out my entire life, like what I was gonna do in high school to make sure I could get into an Ivy League college, and what I was gonna do at that college to make sure I could get into a certain law school or buy a certain car and have a certain apartment or home. Like all of these things I had planned out, and I knew that because my family didn't have the same financial resources someone else's did or access to certain people to get me into doors, I had to open them myself.
He's actually explaining a lot of people's story, a lot of Black folks' story. She's actually describing mine outside of being very intentional. I was not very intentional in regards to how I, started to jump social classes. She seems a little bit more organized than I was as a young man. And, just me joining the military, things happen like that, from progression year to year. You start improving here, start improving there. But yeah, but shouts out to her for being very intentional by the age of 12 years old, creating that vision board and basically outlining what she was going to do and or be when she becomes a young adult or a young woman. Fast forward to her being 24. This is where she's at now. So just to be clear, there's nothing wrong with what she's saying. I think her as a young woman, she should have any type of standard that she wants. It's not my, job to tear her down for whatever she said her preferences are. That's perfectly fine. But I'm going to tell you the issue here in a second, but I want to let her continue. So here we go.
So knowing that, understanding how much work I put into the person that I wanted to be and the life I wanted to have feels so unfair to me now and also to my younger self, who was just so forward thinking and put so many things on the back burner to prioritize the life that I would have right now. For me to date someone who cannot give me the life that I've always wanted, they can't match it. I don't even need you to give it to me because I've already gotten it for myself, but if you can't be right there with me, it's not fair to me to lower my standards or accept certain things that I knew I never wanted to, which is why I work so hard on myself just so that I can be with you. It is not lost on me the fact that a lot of guys my age are just not going to have what I have, because I'm in a very unique position to make an insane amount of money for someone my age. And that's where the other part of the socioeconomic status comes in. I need to at least see that you have worked as hard as I have to put yourself into certain spaces, to open up certain doors for yourself, to go to certain schools or whatever it is, because you have this intrinsic ambition and drive, because you know that you also have your eyes set on the sort of lifestyle that I do, and that is what you're actively working towards every day. Not having that does not make you a bum. It doesn't make you undesirable. It doesn't make you an unattractive man or anything. It just makes you incompatible with me and the lifestyle that I want to have. So if I'm really considering seriously dating someone, not just a casual date, whatever, this is something that is a requirement for me. It's not oh, I hope, or maybe I will. I've tried it before. I'm not doing it. This is what I require, and I don't think it's a lot to ask.
She wants to practice hypergamy, dating at or her income level. And that's, her prerogative to do whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? So she's saying that I know that there is a small percentage of men that are that are making as much as I do at my age. And she's absolutely right. So her standard is her standard. I didn't understand the pushback that a lot of people were giving this young lady, because you yourself should have certain standards. And she has every right to list off everything and what she did to get to this point, so on and so forth. Now, this is where the problem comes in. For this young woman, she can have those standards. She's making an insane amount of money from what she says, has an education. She looks like she's in shape in her videos. So yeah, she can have any standard that she wants, no matter if it's driven by income and money. I know some guys may look at that and be like, oh man, that's crazy. You don't think about love. No, she ain't worried about that. You need to meet the income requirement, and then we can move forward. So basically all that means is that there are some guys that just don't qualify to date that particular woman. So it's no need to get mad, guys. Just let her have her standards and move forward. Don't get in this woman's comment section. And I guess it was, the comment narrative. There were black women saying that there were a lot of black men making videos talking about her. They were saying that every time a black woman decides to raise their standards, black men have a problem with that. No. You want me to show you what black men have a problem with?
What you do for a living, boo?
I work.
What do you do?
I work for a nail salon.
Okay, you work for a nail salon. You have any kids?
No.
No kids. Do you believe in zodiac signs?
Nah.
Okay. So we got London, North Carolina, 24. She works. No kids. What kind of man you looking for, girl?
Tall man, dread-headed.
Tall man and dread-headed. Okay.
He got to be tall.
Should he look a certain way? Well, you said tall and dreadhead, correct?
Yes.
So if he didn't have dreads, you wouldn't want them? You wouldn't want him?
No.
How tall does he have to be?
6 foot.
Have you ever dated a man that was tall with dreads?
No.
I'm glad Kendra G asked that question. The issue that a lot of black men have with black women when we're having these preference discussions or your standards is because most of you guys don't meet them. Most of you guys have never been around these types of guys. You've never dated these types of guys. So that's why you probably will see a lot of black men saying, man, that's crazy. Your standards are too high. I don't condone it, but I do understand why. Because in a sense, it's literally black men trying to help you guys understand that either this man is rare or you've probably never dated this guy, but you've been on social media and you've seen women ask for certain, outlandish things. So you're like, well, she's not better than me. So I want the same thing as this woman. And that's where you got to, I kind of hold the ladies accountable because you guys perpetuate this narrative because you guys don't talk to these women and explain outside of Kendra G, out of all people. She tried to explain to this woman. So that's, and I'm talking specifically to the black women. That's the issue that black men have. It's not for the fact that black men don't want you to raise your standards. It's the fact that you're making yourselves undateable because you may not ever find that man. When there's suitable black men who may be on your quote unquote level that you're going to overlook because you're looking for this one of one fictitious man. So hopefully for the black women who are ninja watching, I want to be clear. Black men are not mad at you raising your standards for the women that actually qualify. It's for the fact that all black women are raising their standards when they don't meet the requirements. Because if you haven't found that man, then that is the market telling you something. Maybe you need to do some internal work and think about all these standards and preferences that you have, and you may need to reel it back in if you're actually looking for love or somebody to settle down with, someone to marry. Because if you keep leading with money, people are going to start looking at you like, hey, let me see if you qualify. Okay, especially guys in these spaces. So that's where the problem is. It's not, you have your standards, but I think black men are just trying to, dare I say, partner with y'all. If you have some realistic expectations, but they're not able to do that if your standards don't match the woman that you are, your social class, your socioeconomic class. Hopefully that makes sense, lady. We're not done. She's not done.
And you will only date that man that's tall with dreads?
Yes.
Hypothetical question. Let's say a man that's tall with dreads doesn't want to date you back. You're okay with never dating another man?
Yeah.
Again, Kendra G, shouts out to her for asking that. She says she okay. If the guy that she just described doesn't approach her, she's okay with not having any man at all. So she's standing on business, as the kids say, right? Let's continue.
I'm okay with it.
Oh, okay. So, be tall, at least how much?
6 foot.
6 foot, and have dreads. Those are, that's non-negotiable.
Yes.
And if you are not tall, and if no man comes forward that is over 6 foot and has dreads and wants to date her back, she is okay with never dating again.
Yes.
Why?
Because that's how I am.
So you will go your whole life never having a relationship with another man, all because he's not over 6 feet and has dreads?
Yes.
Should he make a certain amount of money?
Yes.
How much?
$1 million.
$1 million. $1 million.
You heard it right. She said the man has to make at least $1 million. That's the problem, ladies. This woman considers herself on the same quote unquote level as the young woman Clark. Not just her, millions of women do the same thing. And this is not necessarily about her. I'm just using it as an avatar. God bless her, because she seems a little bit delayed. So, don't go too hard on her. But she just said that a man who's over 6 feet with dreads needs to make $1 million. That's the problem. Do you understand now, ladies?
So I heard you correctly. He has to be over 6 feet, have dreads, and make $1 million.
Yes.
And that's the only man.
I'm all about that money.
She said, I'm all about that money. She dead serious. Okay, look at her face. She's serious as a heart attack. Let's continue.
Oh,
Get what I'm saying?
Get what I'm saying?
he has, this is the dreads. That's the 1 million right there. It says 1 million.
Kendra G, she wild for that. But she was just basically, I'm going to draw this man for you. There he is. Now, do you understand, ladies? And I'm not done driving home this point because I need y'all to understand this. Black men are not mad at you having your own internal personal preferences. It's the fact that they are trying to partner with you guys because black men typically marry black women, but they're not able to do that if you guys have these unrealistic expectations. And this video right here, there's probably going to be a woman in my comments saying, you can't tell her what she deserves. I'm not. I'm just using it as an example. I'm praying that more black women will start speaking to women like this and helping, help her understand that, hey, if you really want to get married, maybe you need to reevaluate your situation. That is not my job. Because there was far too many women saying black women never settle, never settle. Y'all need to be having these conversations amongst yourselves. And this is not just to partner with black men. Because for some odd reason, the narrative is that you guys could just hop, skip, and a jump to white men, not understanding how statistics work. People, about 80 to 85% of racial pairs are, with each other. White men select black women for marriage at the lowest rate. White women first. It's Asian and Hispanic, second and third, and then black women at 0.5%. Currently, there is 0.5% white men married to black women. So this argument of, well, if we can't find a black man that meets our requirements, then I'm just going to go ahead and date a white man. Y'all got to have these conversations from a logical standpoint. And again, like I said, ask white men, because they've been very vocal at all this free, promotion that black women have been giving them. You guys can go read the Dating Divide book. So again, it's not my job to tell you, hey man, white men, they don't marry black women, like that. So you should just start to partner. Nah, man, you can have your hopes, wishes, dreams, whatever. But see, see if you can, do it. See if white men will accept you if that's what you think the fix is. But again, like I said, I'm not done, driving home this point. Let me show you guys something. And shouts out to Kendra G for kind of, keeping a level head and trying to explain to her. But she also did something else on her TikTok page. Let me show you. Hold on. Since y'all think that, it is just her that thinks like this. I just did a quick search on Kendra G's TikTok page. Let me show you what I found. Look at the headlines. Mom of 5 wants a man similar to 50 Cent must make at least $200,000. She's a millionaire. Make at least $300K, no sex until marriage. 53 and looks amazing. $1 million to date her. She will settle for $550,000. Shouts out to her for saying that she will settle for $550,000. She's 70 years old, have a 700 credit score, be over 6 feet, have $50,000 to $100,000. 70 years old and still having the same requirements as a 20-year-old black woman. Mom to 5, make at least $250,000, net worth $1 million. She's the CEO of her own consulting company. Make at least $1 million. I think that's a new one. Make at least $1 million. Prefers a man that's 6'1", make at least $150,000. Last man she dated made $3 million. So now it's dated, not married, dated. So now that is her level. What is that term that I think Rollo Tomasi uses? Alpha widow.
So if a woman gets with a guy and he's rich and he provides for her and he's got a house and he's got this kind of car. She wants the next boyfriend that she has that's not that guy has to provide, the minimum has to be that. That sets the benchmark for the next guy.
This is what tends to happen when guys make a significant amount of money, and these women use these examples as a way to qualify themselves for dating that type of man. She was able to have sex with him, but she wasn't able to keep him, which is what matters the most, ladies. Okay? She lied about her age, done with broke men. Make at least $250K. Okay. You must make at least $400,000 to marry her. She said she knows her worth. Divorced mom to 4. Be able to afford the life she lives. Minimum $150,000. Says black women have woken up. She's 51 and fine. Be financially stable. Make more than $150,000. Mom to 2. Have a passport and make $200K. If you make $100K, you have to be able to grow more. So, I mean, kudos to her for saying she'd give some wiggle room if you only make $100,000 a year. Okay? Y'all understand now. And then, like I said, black women, I'm specifically talking to y'all. This is where the problem lies. Every black woman, no matter from 70 years old to Clark's age, 24 years old, they all have the same requirements. That is not going to get y'all married at a higher rate. Not just with black men, but with all men. If you think that the grass is greener on the white side, so to speak, you're sadly mistaken. Black men marry y'all the most. White men marry y'all the least. You could try, open up your pool. I'm encouraging you to do it and see what they say. And I want to refresh our memory with this Tyler Perry clip.
Especially black women, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I will. In our society right now, black women are making a lot more money for the most part than black men, right?
So, and that's where he was wrong. He put out this narrative that black women are making a lot more money than black men. Y'all just heard that it's not true. And that's a common narrative that's been pushed around in the black community for so long. And I told you guys, that is one of the main reasons why black women think black men are less than. If you are under the impression that the people that you're supposed to partner with make less than you, less educated, own less businesses, always in jail, are either gay, broke, then you have every right to think that those people are less than. That's what the black community does with these conversations and these false narratives. So that's why a significant amount, the majority of black women think that black men are less than, because the black community keeps pushing these false narratives that black men are less than black women. And he's doing this right now by saying that black women earn more than black men. It's not true.
There are a lot of black men who are successful, but for the most part, black women are making the money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job and is a good man and is good to you and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can, because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yes.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, you've handled the light bill, baby, you can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine.
Yeah.
All right, so let me stop there. And that's where the whole light bill conversation, and I told you guys that black women was going to latch onto that and make it seem like Tyler Perry was encouraging them to get with a man who can only afford to pay a light bill. No, he was just using that as an example of a man who makes less money than you. He wasn't saying that to try and tell black women to lower your standards. He was actually trying to help. He was trying to get y'all to understand that, hey, if you have these standards or you do make more money than, a couple of guys out there, black men out there, perfectly fine. But he was saying you may need to consider the guy who makes less than you. That was an overarching point in order to get you guys married at a higher rate. He was not saying just date a man who can only pay or marry a man who can only pay the light bill. He was just using it as an example. So all these things go into place of, standards and preferences and people literally trying to help black women in real time, but you guys are getting offended. So no, black men don't have a problem with your preferences, but if everybody can't have the same preferences. And honestly, black women, I mean, y'all should be having these discussions. Yeah, like y'all don't see what y'all think every woman is on the same level. A woman, let's say a woman who is childless, as opposed to a woman who has 4 kids, are they on the same level? You guys think that's your competition. So she's basically saying, hey, I want the same things that you want, no matter what the situation may be. Y'all don't think that's something that y'all need to discuss amongst yourselves? Don't that sound kind of crazy? I mean, just think about these things. I mean, it's clear cut to men, but it doesn't help if you guys get upset. Especially, I'm gonna put this video out, and of course, it may be some. Who are you? I told you, it's not my job to sit there and question your preferences, but that should be something that y'all should think about, and maybe educate those women. Like, hey, man, there is no way possible that you are requesting the same things that I'm requesting, and it's tough, man. It's very tough. So, this is always, it's not a tough conversation to convey, but it's a tough conversation for black women to accept. It's social media that's pushing this narrative that every woman should have this particular type of man. And it's just not true. Statistically, it's just not true. Man, it's tough, but yeah, so hopefully I was able to clarify for the women who may have been confused. Shout out to the young woman Clark. She could have her own standards. It's not the problem. It's the women that are adopting her mindset when they may not qualify, or they may be a little bit less than, not as a person, but on the dating market. Okay. So that's all I'm saying. Just think about that before you guys move forward out there. Goodness gracious. It's tough.